Here's a dramatic intro. Ready?
We can do better.
It's the world premiere of our X-Men review.
The Earth is turning the wrong way in that. I don't know if it
Ben,
makes...
you ruined all the fun.
That was really bothering you. I could tell. You're like, oh.
It was also turning too fast. It usually takes like a whole day for it.
Maybe it was time lapse. All right, let's. We're going to talk about X-Men. Ben, do you have much experience with X-Men?
I've played some. I'd like to get some more experience with it, but it's...
All right, so this is the game. This is going to be our featured review of the day. So, Nick, why don't you kick it off talking about the art?
So, well, here we're gonna break it down. Starting with the art, Kevin right now has the Pro backlash, if I'm not mistaken, on the screen. And actually, I mean, it looks amazing. It looks really good. This is not based on any of the movies. It's a comic book art style. I couldn't say, kind of what decade they're going for. I'm not a comic book guy, but the whole game is just kind of plastered with this comic book art. And it looks fantastic from the backlash to the cabinet to the playfield. Looks pretty good too.
Yep. So that was that's the Pro cabinet that you're seeing right here. It's got kind of everybody all over it. There are 3 editions of this game. There's a Pro and 2 limited editions. The first LE is the Magneto. It's got kind of a red look. It's got the red armor and Magneto on the backlash, as you would expect. Back when LEs actually got backglasses, mirrored backglasses. This is one of those.
Imagine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. Somebody is sort of saying how sexy I look on the
I know.
stream there.
Her name's Lady Cranes. I imagine she's some relation to this Ben guy. Ben brought his fan club here tonight. And this is what we're looking at here is the Wolverine LE.
So it's nice. They had 3 different art styles. They had one specifically for the Wolverine LE, one for the Magneto LE, and then the just kind of the regular Pro art. But I'd say they all look great.
Cabinet art is awesome. That's one of my, when this game came out, I'm like, this is an awesome looking pinball machine. Great art, as you would expect from an X-Men game. But, you never know. They could have gone with movie and had like people from the old movies on there. Thank goodness they didn't do that. So
no, it makes it timeless.
Yeah, and here's the playfield art. Playfield art's not
as good as like the backlash and cabinet, but
yeah, it gets the job done. I would say it's above average.
Agreed.
But altogether, the cabinet artwork and playfield artwork and artwork altogether, I would say is a win in that category.
Okay, I think we concur on that. Let's go over to sound. So the sound in the game. Music's fine. Nothing terribly memorable. I've played X-Men a good amount, and there's nothing bad I can say about the music per se, but it's not something that gets stuck in my head. I can just kind of barely think of it right now.
Yeah. There's no standout music that I can think of.
I think the low point is, though, some of the voice call-outs.
Yes. People hate it.
Yeah, just not good.
Wolverine panting.
People don't like Beast. It's kind of like hit or miss on that point. And then what's the one that people hate? Storm, I think the most.
I think so.
Is that her name? I don't know.
I always play this in noisy areas, so I don't really notice it that much. But from what I understand, if you have it in your home and you hear these call outs over and over and over again, they're really annoying.
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? But I can understand that if you're a fan and that's your thing and that's your theme, to being disappointed by it.
Scribble says Storm is horrible. So
okay, it's Storm. Yeah, she's bad.
So forgettable music and bad callouts.
Yeah, nothing impressive there. You're not gonna show that game off to anybody in the sound department.
Right. Exactly. Toys. It's got some toys.
It's got some toys. So on the Pro, I guess. I don't even know if we want to call this a toy, but quote-unquote toy is Wolverine. He's this plastic molded figure. He doesn't move. He doesn't do anything, but there's a magnet in front of him. So when you hit him, he'll kind of grab it, and you hit him, he'll throw it around a little bit. I don't even think he throws it that much in the game.
No, it's not that dangerous.
Yeah. And then the other, that's really the only toy. Then there's another magnet for Magneto in like the center of the playfield that during his multi-ball start, the balls will drop, they'll be held on the magnet, and the magnet will kind of throw them. So that's cool. At least it's theme integration into the game, right? Magneto, magnet throws the balls. Perfect. Makes sense.
I love that when it holds on the LE, when it grabs the balls and spins them around and they go flying.
I think that's the best part of the game.
Yeah.
That's done before.
So the LE takes the it takes the toy from the Sega game Twister.
Yeah.
All right. So it takes that, where there's a spinning disc, sort of like if you think Whirlwind, but there's a magnet in the middle. Or if you played Sega's Twister, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ball's dropped there, spins around, fires it off. Great multi-ball start. So, the toys are pretty good. One downside, though, when you're talking about toys, is there's a ramp on the LE, and this ice ramp moves in certain points of the game across the playfield, changing the shots. The problem is, a lot of times when it's moving, the balls will fall off, messing up your play. So when you hit a ramp shot that would normally be safe in the pro, because the stupid ramp is moving, it will drop the ball in the playfield when it's really not supposed to, and you can drain. So that's a frustrating aspect. The other thing with that moving ramp is that part of the rules is that you need to roll over the in lanes. I forget what you're spelling, but that will light the villain modes in the scoop. Now, that ramp on there in the LE, I think returns it in such a way that you don't get qualification for one of the rollovers, making it harder to qualify those villains in the pro in the LE and premium, which is a problem.
Right.
It just makes the game unnecessarily difficult, and that's where I think a lot of the frustration comes in with rule-wise, even though kind of blending into that category, but it's worth mentioning because it's a toy that messes it up.
Yeah, and one other toy on the LE is it's got the pop-up night crawlers, kind of like the trolls on Medieval Madness or the beasts on The Hobbit. Those are kind of cool. People say they just get in the way of your shots and are annoying, but
I think it's cool to have them. When you want to compare them with Hobbit or Medieval Madness, they're not 3D molded toys. They're just a flat picture. So, you can't help but compare them to Medieval Madness and Hobbit, and you can't help but be disappointed because it's not a 3D molded head. If it was, that'd probably be, significantly more interesting.
Yeah. But all things considered, there's a lot going on the LE.
Yeah, this is when they actually put stuff into games.
Yeah, but some people tend to prefer the Pro because of some of the gameplay differences that you mentioned that we'll get into a little bit later on. But let's talk about the DMD and lighting. What do you think?
So the Pro was incandescent when it came out. All right, so we're kind of in that time period when they're making the transition from LEDs from incandescent to LEDs. The premium and LE, or there was no premium. Sorry, I keep on saying that. The LEs had, color changing LEDs. So, that looks pretty good. It's not as good as it is today, but it's understandable for its time. The lighting's fine. Again, it's nothing that stands out in my mind. I think AC/DC that came out around the same time was much better in lighting. When they transitioned to the LEDs on the premium and LE versus the LEs on X-Men.
Yeah, it doesn't have an amazing light show. It's just it does the thing. It does nothing outstanding. The thing I do really like is the DMD on this. It says some of my favorite dots of any Stern that has come out. It's got great hand drawn art. It's not movie clips or anything like that. I don't know who did the DMD animations on this, but they did a really good job. I haven't seen it in color yet. I bet this is probably one of the best color. Have you seen it in color? Yeah. But yeah, this and actually Avengers I think has really good DMD animations as well.
Someone was saying, I remember Jamie was saying that because he's got a Wolverine, that the DMD has some of the most animations from a Stern game.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. It's probably a game that begs for a color DMD.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's got, of DMD animations, I think it's right at the top. All right, gameplay. So how do you think it shoots?
I think it shoots great. I love the layout. It's a John Board game, so right then and there we're off to a good start. I think it's the most flowy board game out there. There's actually a lot of shots that flow compared to typically in his games. He's got some flow, but also shots that are coming right back at you. Really, only Wolverine is the shot that comes back at you, other than when the night crawlers are up. It's kind of like a reverse Tron, if you will, but it has more shots, and I love how Tron shoots, and I think this is even better because there's just more shots packed in there. So more options, more shots. The shots feel amazingly good. I absolutely love the way this game plays. It feels great to shoot.
Yeah, I remember. So when we were first getting into the pinball scene, Jamie bought one of these new in box and had us over to set it up, and I was pretty new to real pinball, and I remember I could not hit any shots on this. Even though there's literally shots everywhere, a lot of them are real tight, and you end up hitting a lot of posts if you're not good at hitting your shots. So for more experienced players. Now I love it. I think it's a great game, and I would like to maybe own one someday. But it could be a little intimidating to new players, I think, with just the sheer number of shots and how tight some of them are to pick off. All right, rules.
So this game is pretty deep, rule wise. There's a good amount there. One thing that I like about it is that you're trying to collect the X-Men. You're also trying to, I guess, beat the villains, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the cool things in the game is there's a Magneto multi-ball, and you can start trying to start Magneto multi-ball. But if you haven't collected any of the X-Men, then the values of the jackpots in that are very low. Versus if you go and like get Wolverine, Storm, Cyclops, or whatever, like if you start collecting the X-Men and then starting Magneto, well, the X-Men that you've collected, those jackpots are going to be worth a heck of a lot more than the X-Men you haven't collected. So you're trying to assemble your team. It's one of those games where even though multi-ball might be ready to go, you don't want to start it. You don't want to hit that multi-ball shot because you're focused on other things. So there's that risk-reward when you're playing it competitively too. Do you want to just go and get the quick multi-ball and just get in it because maybe you need a couple million to beat your opponent? Or should you focus on trying to collect the X-Men, then maybe ball 3 starting it? Great rules. I think the one frustration that from my understanding is the way the villains are started with hitting the rollovers. It can be kind of this exercise of just hitting in the scoop over and over again because that's one way of qualifying the rollovers. Yep. So I think at some point in the game, it kind of gets bogged down by that kind of really poor rule implementation. So the rules do suffer there. They're imperfect. I think that's why some people don't like the game, and I think that's why they get rid of it. But there are some innovative and cool things in the rules and good theme integration.
Yeah. So you understand the rules way better than I do. I'll typically go for multi-balls, try to get some modes started. It's one of these games that has super deep rules that I think it would be great in a home collection. And it's a game that Stern came back to a long time after it came out and finally put out an update that people really felt pushed it over the top and made it great. So this is why people hold out hope for Stern games, I think. Releases like this, releases like The Walking Dead or Metallica even, where it comes out at first and it's just kind of like this bare bones, like just get the game going kind of code. And then eventually, hopefully they push it over the top and make something great.
I could be wrong, but there might be something still missing from it. I mean, there might be a wizard mode that's missing. I don't know. So let us know on our social media.
Yeah, awesome.
If we missed that.
For sure. Lastability. What do you think?
Good question. I think we'll go over the highlights. One, it looks good in a collection. It shoots great. It's kind of got that timeless theme of X-Men. I think the rules are deep enough to keep someone engaged for quite some time. It's certainly a challenging game that you're not going to get through that easily. What might hurt its lastability is that frustration of trying to get through the villains because of how you qualify them. I know that's why other people have gotten rid of them, and I think that's one reason I've never pulled the trigger on the game because I like how it shoots. Like I said, I think it's better than Tron in the way that shoots, and I like Tron. I'm cool with the theme, but a rule like that I can see really frustrating me and just becoming not fun to a point where it might seem so broken that I got to get rid of it. So without owning one, I can say that it's probably fun for a while, but is it the kind of game that will never leave your collection? I doubt it.
Yeah, I get that impression too. It's definitely one I would want to own and have it for a while and really dig into the rules and try to understand as much of it as I can. But yeah, if it's got a mode like that where you just keep it in the scoop over and over, something that kind of hamstrings it, I can see that getting old real quick.
I'd like one for I'd like to get one for Route actually. That'd be fun.
You should do that.
Get a Pro though.
You should.
I don't think I'd want to. As beautiful as they are, I think the LEs will drive me nuts with the problems. And they've actually they're low in price.
I know.
I mean, you can get an LE for like $5 or something, maybe even less.
Yeah, maybe.
People don't want them.
You should totally get an X-Men.
But there was also a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So, awesome. All right, let's go to the website. Except I have to change this.
You want me to read Adam's?
Wait, no, we can do this.
Oh, you want to go to the poll?
Yeah. No, I want to show the ratings.
Oh, that's right. Ratings. That's right.
So the score key is from 0 to 2 is a burn it.
It's a 0 to 10 scale.
Yep. 3 to 5 is an expensive nightlight.
Also known as Batman 66.
6 to 8 is a solid game, and a 9 to 10 is a buy it. So I'll let you go first. Why don't you give your rating on
I'm going to give it at the top. It's just one less than buy it. It's a solid game. I enjoy playing it. I wouldn't mind having it in my collection temporarily. I don't see myself keeping it, but there's a lot of things that this game does well. It's fun to shoot, and I think at the core, pinball's got to be fun to shoot. You got to have shots that you enjoy. So that's there. The rules are pretty deep in it. That's there to keep you engaged. But it's not a perfect game, so I think it doesn't hit that 9 to 10 buy it range.
I'm right there, man. I think it's a solid game. I'm like this close to saying buy it, but I look at some of the other the ratings we've given. I'm like, is it a Walking Dead good? No, it's not Walking Dead good. So I think I'm going to give it an 8. I think that's a solid game, top of the solid game range, especially considering the current price for it. It's a great value. The art package is great. Rules are fun. Great to shoot. I think you can't go wrong grabbing one of these. What do you think, Ben?
Oh, I mean, I was just looking at your ratings, trying to figure out where to put it. I maybe put it like a 7 or so.
A 7? Okay.
Yeah, just because I like Star Wars a little more, and you put that at 7.5, and
Okay,
so.
yeah, that's fair. So we're all kind of in that 6 to 8, the high end of the solid game range. So there you go. That's X-Men. I think it's a game that really came a long way from what it started at, and as a theme that, like Nick said, is kind of timeless. So that is our